Nigeria's creative industry is reputed to be one of the largest employers of labor in the country, but the sector has remained dormant since the pandemic. The federal government has now set up a post-COVID-19 committee for the creative industry. This is to see to its growth, assess the expected impact of the pandemic on the industry, advise the government on how to mitigate job and revenue losses in the sector, as well as to create succor for the industry and small businesses, among others. Joining me now via Skype is the chairman, Post-COVID-19 Initiatives Committee for the Creative Industry, Ali Baba. Ali Baba, it's good to have you join me this morning. It's nice to have you, really, I must say.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Great. Now, first of all, let me ask, how is COVID-19 affecting, and impacting the creative industry? Can you just give us an overview?
One thing is that most of the jobs that we do in the creative sector is contact sport. You have to organize a comedy show and people will come together and watch. As actors in a movie, you have a cameraman, the crew for sound, the people for lights, the actors themselves, and of course, you know that sometimes you would have romantic scenes. The thing is, if it's on stage, you have to act, you have to speak, and there's no way you would do any of those without projecting, and the COVID-19 virus spreads a lot with just spoken word. And, spoken word is how the industry survives. We also believe that there's certain parts of the creative sector that are majorly hit by this, like the makeup industry. You have to touch people's faces, spas, beauty salons, tattoos. There are quite a lot of these people who have been affected. It has affected us greatly, really, without mincing words. What the government has actually done is that they want to get to see how this has really affected them economically, socially, and how it has impacted the sector. And it has. From people who have been there were people who were shooting in locations that had to stop. And when you do that, it means that cameras and everything that you rented would have to be paid for, and then you stop production. If you had a release date of like May, it means you have to shift it to another time. Productions have stopped. Productions that should have started were stopped. Live shows were cancelled. AY Live was supposed to be on. Bucci was supposed to have a show in Abuja. Funny Bone was supposed to have a show. I was supposed to have a show. But all of these have been cancelled. Right. And a lot of people were affected. Yes.
Okay. Now, let me bring the issue of a structure, because people, even non-Nigerians who have admired the creative industry in Nigeria, one of the complaints they have is the issue of lack of structure. And that has affected data collection, that has affected taxes that should be generated from the industry, that has affected also the way that government intends to either bail it out or even approach it, because there are so many different sections that are unorganized. Talk to us about this area from the perspective of your committee. How is that affecting the creative industry, and how do you intend to handle that?
Well, the issue of structure has been a long time coming. One is that, first of all, before you start thinking about structure, you have to think about data. You have to think about numbers. You have to think about how the people are, who the people are, where the people are. And with that, you can then begin to build a structure. Right now, I can bet that most tax collecting offices do not know how many comedians are in Lagos. They also do not know how many comedians are in Nigeria. They do not know how many actors are active in Nigeria. So the issue of structure seriously has to do with the lack of data. You don't know who. In fact, I bet we don't know how many Nigerians we are. we've been working with a fictitious number of 200 million, 220, 230. So basically, the issue of structure has been about numbers. That said, in Nigeria, you will find that a bit of structure can be found in the creative industry for those broadcast houses. But for individuals, no, nothing. For instance, when you have Chartered Institute of Accountants, some similar structure can be found there. Chartered Institute of Bankers can have something like that. Broadcasters Association of Nigeria also can make that kind of structure available. But in the creative sector entirely, it really has been informal.
All right.
And when you have an informal sector, then you do not have structure.
All right.
That has been the problem.
All right. Now, you have been given a responsibility by the government, the federal government, through the Minister of Information to come up with advising government. Now, in a way not to preempt you necessarily on what you're going to do with your committee, but what, in the overview, what do you expect government to do at this time to ensure that this opportunity creates that leverage for the creative industry and puts it up there?
Okay, first of all, in looking at the impact, the mandate we got in the committee is that we have to look at all sectors and subsectors of the creative industry. So we'll look as far as poetry, we'll look as far as printers, we'll look as far as, there are two different kinds of people in the fashion industry. There are the people who are fashion makers, and then there are fashion garment makers. They're the garment makers, and then the people in the fashion industry. So your designers and all of that are different. The garment makers are different. We'll look, it's a thorough look at the industry, really. Our mandate is to look at the whole 9 yards of the creative industry, and then suggest to the government and say, this is how these people have been impacted. This is how they've been coping. And this is how they would have coped better if this kind of stuff was available, like structure. I'll give you one part. One thing that we're going to recommend to government is insurance. If you are planning a show, you must insure the show. Just like if you buy a car, there's a law that says you must insure a car. So if you're planning an event or a movie or this, you must insure it. The Wimbledon now was cancelled because of COVID. Because over the years, for an institution of over 100 years, they've been paying their insurance. Because they cancelled, they got full payment of how much they would have earned. So we need to insure the creative industry, especially when we have projects. And so it doesn't affect you. For instance, you have a movie, and these are all part of the stuff that we're going to, part of the things that we're going to recommend to the government to do. So you have a movie, you're shooting a movie. Insure the movie. If you were planning to shoot a movie for 50 million and your projected income for that movie is 100, then you can insure the movie for about like 20, by 2 or 3 million, or 4 million. Meaning when the movie comes out, if it does not hit the 100 million that you had planned, the insurance company can pay for it.
It takes over from there. Okay.
Exactly.
I wonder, Ali Baba, I wonder if 4 weeks will be enough for you to do all of this, but we have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Ali Baba of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much for talking to us on TV.